Hey, what's up guys, Junction Reviews here, coming back at you with another video. In this video we're going to be tackling the Microsoft Surface Pro 6. But before the video starts, I would recommend you guys watch my Google Pixel Slate review and my iPad Pro review, because all these devices are very similar but very unique in their own way. So if you're interested in the Surface Pro 6, you might also find interest in those devices. But anyways, let's get right into the video. So the Surface Pro 6 is the latest installment in the Surface Pro lineup, and I would say that it's the most notorious of the Surface devices because it has consistently been a pretty good product, especially for business and professional use. So keeping all of that in mind, in this video we're going to go over the quirks, the specs, the prices, and everything you need to know about the Surface Pro 6 and whether you should be considering this as a product that you should replace your current laptop with. So let's get right into it. So a neat quirk from the Surface Pro 6 is that it doesn't have a folio. The kickstand is directly on the back and it's part of the device, so you don't have to be messing around with folio whenever you want to prop it up, which is actually really cool. It also benefits the writing experience whenever you're not on a stable surface. So like, let's say when you have it on your lap, it's just gonna be generally better to have an actual kickstand than to have a folio. Number 2 is portability, and this comes standard with these type of devices, so that's something that I pointed out on the Google Pixel Slate and the iPad Pro, and I just think it's something notable to point out on the Surface Pro 6 because these devices are just all very portable, and it's something that is obviously a driving factor and would be something to consider when you're considering this device for your new daily driver. Number 3 would be its webcam, and its webcam is amazing. It's 1080p, and there's not many devices that you're gonna get with a 1080p webcam, which is why I said that this device is really good for business, because normally if you're doing video calls and stuff, that would actually be a good thing to have. And tying along with the webcam, I would say that the Windows Hello is also a really good feature because it's just really fast, and that's obviously it's from Microsoft, so they're gonna make their devices work with their own software as fast as they can. So it obviously has one of the best Windows Hello experiences, I guess, that you could get in a device. Next, the Surface Pro 6 is fanless, which means it's quiet, like deadly quiet, like very quiet, which is also really good. Everybody's always looking for a device that's quiet. You don't want your device going whenever you're trying to do stuff, so that's always a big plus on a device. Next is it's just really good touchscreen and its pen, because that's something that the Surface products always get kind of right, and that's something that they've carried on because the Surface Pro has basically looked the same for a while now, so it's good that it still carries the pros from the other Surface Pros. Another quirk that's very notable and that's going to be very useful is the battery life. The Surface Pro devices have always been known for having a great battery life, and this device does not skip on that. You're still getting like around 8 hours of battery life, which is amazing, and it's just something you couldn't really ask for a lot more from a device with this type of power. That's pretty much it for the quirk. Let's get into the specs, and then we'll get into my overall thoughts, and yeah, we'll end the video there. So as I said before, the Microsoft Pro products tend to kind of stay to the same and then just get sort of refreshes. So that's kind of what's happened here with the refresh to the 8th gen iCore 7 and iCore 5 processors for the Surface Pro. So yeah, we got the 8th gen now, which makes a significant difference. I've seen a figure throwing around around 30 to 60% of a increase in performance over the last year's Surface Pro, which is ridiculous. That's actually a really good deal. And for a previous Surface Pro user, it kind of gives them more of an incentive to upgrade, because there's always this thing with the Surface Pro, which is, should I upgrade, because they're all very similar. But this, I would say, makes a significant difference, so if you are looking to upgrade, you should. In the specs page, it says that it has 13.5 hours of battery life, but I would say it's more around 8. So just keep that in mind. I just wanted to point that out really quick. So your SSD can range from 128 gigs to 1 terabyte. It's always good to have an SSD. So I would say that the 128 is pretty decent if you're not going to be using a lot of like editing software and you're just going to be using Excel and stuff like that. But if you want to be doing some editing, I would recommend you get the 256 version. For the base model, like just everything base, 8 gigs of RAM, your iCore 5 and your 128 SSD, you're going to be looking around $800, which is actually pretty good in my opinion. It's really reasonable. If you want the 256, it's around $1,000, which is also kind of reasonable. So yeah. As always with the display, we have your pristine display that's become standard with the Surface Pro. And for your graphics, they have gotten a little bit worse from last year's, or like 2017, but it's not too significant. And regularly with the work you're going to be doing on the Pro 6, you generally want a better CPU, so it's nothing to worry about. The I/O on the Pro 6 is pretty lackluster, I'm not gonna lie. It doesn't have USB-C, it only has one USB-A. It has your headphone jack, it has your mini display port, your Surface Connect Pro port, and that's pretty much it. You have your micro SD card reader, but yeah, pretty lackluster. I would say that it could definitely use a big update on that, but I think they would have to change the chassis and they just get like a full refresh of the product to be able to do that on the Surface Pro. So that's pretty much it for the specs. We're gonna get into my final thoughts and just my verdict, and then we'll end the video. Thank you for sticking around this long. So like I generally do, we're gonna go over the pros and cons really quick again before I give my final verdict. Let's start with the pros. So obviously, one, great battery life, something that's coming standard with the Microsoft Surface Pro. It has mouse support, which is something that the iPad Pro doesn't have. So that's just notable because of that. It has great, like just amazing webcam, which is like amazing webcam, I don't need to say anymore. Great portability, and it has a built-in kickstand, so you don't have to deal with any folios. Great portability is just something that's coming standard with these products, but it's always good to have. And last but not least, it's fanless, so you don't have any noise, unlike my background noise. Now on to the cons. One, it has USB Type-C. That's about it. The Surface Pro lineup has always been really good, and it's just a great product, but how can you not have a USB Type-C? Like at this point, you just have to have a USB Type-C or a Thunderbolt 3. Like, I get that that's not their target demographic, so I wouldn't necessarily demand a Thunderbolt 3 because we're not trying to make this into like a gaming beast. But I would say that USB Type-C is kind of standard, especially in the business world. So yeah. Final verdict, I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10. I think it's a great product. I think that the refresh definitely helped it to keep contending because it's just a great product, but not having a USB Type-C really hurts it. So if it had a USB Type-C, it could possibly be a 10 out of 10, not gonna lie. The speakers are pretty decent, they just don't have bass. That's another kind of con, but yeah, it's just a great product, solid buy. Soon I'm going to be making a video comparing the iPad Pro to the Google Pixel Slate to the Pro 6, and yeah, my full on thoughts on the three devices and how do they compare to each other. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.